Hello YouTube, this is a video on pretty much two subjects. First subject being the new case that you see right here, and second subject being my pretty much NAS file server, whatever you want to call it, PC. The old case was, you know, that old piece of junk metal chassis that was for some reason made by Open at some point. I don't know, maybe in the early 200s BC or something. That thing was just total crap. But, you know, it held the thing in place, so that was pretty good. But, I put it in a new case, as you can see here. This is an Intertech M-201. And it says Eterno on the front, which I cannot really find any information on the box or whatever, because it is right there. Hell yeah. So Intertech is just like MS Tech, a German company that makes budget products pretty much, but I decided to go with this Intertech case instead of the MS Tech case that my girlfriend has for her media center PC or whatever you want to call it, because this PC doesn't have all the ports behind this door right here, but it has them on the top, because I lay it down flat and she sets it up right. That's what these stands are for. So you can use this pretty much, you can put it vertical like this. And it actually looks pretty sharp. Of course, here would the optical drive go if you would have one. I do not have one currently. We'll get one at some point. I'd have to get a SATA one because I don't want to mess with IDE cables in tiny cases. That's just a shitload of work. And I want to AM1 this thing at some point. Move to the AM1 platform. It's still on AM2 at the moment. It sounds like a downgrade, but trust me, AM1 is pretty much their mobile APUs put on a desktop board with SATA 3, 6 gigabit per second, and USB 3. All those really neat modern features on pretty much an ITX board with pretty much no power consumption whatsoever. That whole system would like consume about, I don't know, CPU plus a board is like 30 watts. And this CPU alone is 45 watts, and it's slower than those quad-core Kabini Athlons. So enough about that. So let's get to the case itself at first. So you can see there's this door here. You could put your optical drive behind here. On the top we have two USB 2.0 ports, a reset button, and these two here are the audio jacks, microphone, and headphones. Here on the side is the power button. Here is a 70mm grill for a fan. This is the outtake with the CPU cooler right underneath it, as you can see. Here's another 70mm fan grill. And there is the power supply, which is a 300 watt micro ATX power supply. On the back there's just the stuff that was on my system. But I'll show it regardless. So we got 4 expansion slots right here. Here's an Ethernet card without a bracket because it didn't come with a low profile bracket. And I was too dumb to see that. But I don't really care. Here's the video card, which is a GeForce G100 or 105. I kind of forgot. But it has HDMI and DVI, and it's low profile, so it's cool. And here's all these stuff from the motherboard. So without further ado, let's actually open up the case and see what's inside of it. Nice thumb screw, of course. Pull it back, lift it out of the way. And there is the insides of the Intertech M201 desktop case. This is of course my MyoStar motherboard with the Athlon CPU. This cooler is totally overkill, but it makes the whole system a lot quieter, because the fan barely ever has to run. This CPU can be cooled passively pretty much by this huge tower cooler. Or well, it's a stock AMD heat pipe cooler for like the Phenom 2s. So let's put the camera this way. Here's my 3.5-inch hard drive. It's supposed to be mounted underneath, but I could not really get it to fit or get the cables in there properly. So I suppose it's not really meant for 3.5-inch hard drives at all. But there is space for 2.5-inch drives. I might actually look into that at a later point in time. And here's the tiny power supply. We still outputs 300 watts and has a PCI Express connector for video cards, so you can make this a mini ITX gaming PC with like a 7750 or something like that by AMD. I'm not quite sure which R5 or R7 card would compare to that at the moment. Maybe like an R7 250 or something, or R5 240 or whatever. I'm not really up to date with their new naming scheme, so it's kind of confusing at sometimes. So here's the gigabit Ethernet card, whatever. So like I said, this is usually supposed to be a mount for 5¼ inch optical drives. And I put in the hard drive here because I couldn't fit it down there. And it supports 2½ inch hard drives or SSDs. And there's really not much else that you can show on this case itself. So yeah, it's quite a basic little case that can support micro ATX motherboards and mini ITX. And if I actually upgrade this thing to AM1 platform, that would actually be like a really nice and quite powerful system as well. But that efficiency of the AM1 platform really appeals to me. So I'm definitely going to do that at some point, but I don't really have any cash at the moment. I have had some financial issues. Let's put it that way. So that pretty much concludes this video here on the case upgrade on my file share, NAS, whatever you want to call it, PC, as well as a pretty much an introduction video on the Intertech M-201 desktop case. Hopefully you've found this video somewhat useful, or enjoyable at least, and I thank you all for watching. An important thing about the Intertech M-201 case is the fact that it comes with these feet, so you can actually really put it down flat without any issues. So I'm going to apply these to the case itself right now, but I just wanted to mention that these actually exist. So for people that are buying this case, you can actually know what's in the package. So just to add that to this video, you get these 4 feet, you get a whole bag of screws, so you don't need to scavenge from other PCs or anything. There we go. That's a whole bag of screws. And that's pretty much it. So you get, of course, your stands, so you can put it vertical. You get your 4 rubber feet, and you can get a bag of screws. Also, one important note that I forgot to mention in the video itself is, I have to put it in the right position, is when you're going to install your expansion cards, the room between the slots here, or actually between the edge of the case here and the slot itself, is so tiny you cannot fit a card with a bracket after fitting the motherboard. It won't fit. What you have to do is put the card without a bracket on the motherboard, slide the motherboard in, or well, let's actually do it in a different order. You put the card on the motherboard, then you screw in the bracket into the case, then you place the motherboard with the expansion cards installed into the bracket, and then you fasten down the motherboard and the ports of the expansion cards itself. In this case, this video card has 2 screws here that hold the DVI port or plug in place if you actually want to do that. So what you have to do is actually put the card into the PCI Express slot on the motherboard. Then you put this thing here on your case, screw it in, then push the DVI through the DVI port on the bracket while also placing the motherboard. And then you can tie the whole thing down and then it will work. It's a bit of a hassle, so beware of that when you buy this case. That is all. So this is the actual end of the video, and I thought this was a very useful addition to people that are actually looking into buying the Intertech M-201 desktop case. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video once again, and I thank you all for watching, even though I added this bit to it. Take care, guys.